Good evening, everybody. I hope this time it's going to work. Facebook had a little bit of a problem on the last attempt, so we'll see if this one's going to work for us. Hopefully, we're working and it's all working and going out as it should be. It's telling me this time it seems a little bit happier and the screen's doing what it should be. So fingers crossed all's okay. But as always, if you are joining us, please let us know in the comments if you can hear us, if you can see us, and if everything's coming across okay. Because of course tonight is a very important night. It is Sneaky Peek night, and Sneaky Peek night means that we have got loads to share with you. And when I mean loads and loads. So this week is our birthday week event on liveshopping.vip, and because it's our sort of celebratory year birthday, we are jam packing this release with over 50 products, 50 products. I think it's actually something like 54 in total. So there is loads to get through tonight, and I'm going to do my best to not keep you here all evening. But before we delve in, should we say hello to a few people, because that's always important, isn't it? So who have we got joining us this evening? We've got Sue's with us, evening, Kathleen, Lynn, Catherine. I know it started and then it went. Oh, honestly, technology is not good, is it? Samantha says we're very quiet. Let's just check I've put my volume
We're normally...
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Samantha. I did it on the first time and I forgot to do it on the second one, so thank you. Honestly, it's never easy setting up technology, especially when it's not working. Good evening, Nicola. Good evening, Angela, Yvonne, Hayley, Rose. There's loads of you. Thank you all for coming to join us. And Alison, happy birthday. I hope you've had a really lovely day. I can see here that you're telling us you're officially an OAP today, which of course is something
happy
to celebrate.
birthday, Alison.
So happy birthday from me and Pete. So good evening, all of you. It's lovely to have you with us. I'm very conscious we've got loads to get through tonight. So I'll say hello to a few more of you shortly. But shall we get on and tell you some bits and bobs? So tonight, of course, is Sneaky Peek night. That means that we're sharing with you the latest release that is going to be available for you on liveshopping.vip. Our shows this release or this week are a bit different to the normal. Normally we're there on a Thursday pretty much, or maybe a Wednesday, usually a Thursday I think, isn't it? But this week we are here on Saturday and Sunday, or there on Saturday and Sunday, as part of their summer crafting event. So we will be with you on Saturday at 2 p.m. and there on Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11. So 3 different hours bringing all of these 50 items to you across those shows. So hopefully you can join us on liveshopping.vip to take part in the summer crafting event, because I think it's going to be really good. You're going to have shows from Pinflare and Debbie Moore Designs, us, of course, the Highlight Crafts crew, Elms is there. There's a whole host of us there for this 2-day event that I think is going to be really good fun. We'll share more details over the next couple of days on our posts about how and where you can watch liveshopping.vip if it's a new concept to you. But of course, all of our shows, you will be able to watch them on our page as well, like you're watching this live. So you can join in the fun there. After that event and the exclusivity period that will be for liveshopping.vip, the only place you'll be able to purchase these 50 plus items will be over those 2 days. And then on Tuesday, we launch it to our stockists. On Tuesday will be the 24th, and that will be at 10 a.m. And then you'll be able to find it from your favourite stockist as well. But of course, first is sort of fastest fingers first, we'll be able to get it from liveshopping.vip. Okay, I feel that we haven't yet said hello to you, have we? I know we've been rude this evening, haven't I?
They've heard me mumble, but...
I haven't even set up the camera, so you might look a little bit like you've been... Yeah, we've had
We're a little bit close up, haven't we? I do apologise.
Shall I try and zoom you out a bit? Can I... No, that's
I'm still here in my little box, though, look.
Somebody said that last week. Oh, that's a little bit better, isn't it? There you go.
Oh, we don't want to let them see too much.
There's lots on the... We've had to... Should we show them the table? We've had to bring in a pop-up table this week to house everything, because as you know, we've moved everything to the warehouse, or we're starting to move everything to the warehouse, and part of this room's already gone. So yeah, pop-up tables to help keep everything going. So let's have a little look. Who else have we had join us? Good evening. Where did we get to? There's so many of you here tonight. Sorry, I'm going to struggle to keep up with all these comments, aren't I? I can see that. That's lovely. Evening Kim, evening June, Beth Ann, Porsche, Debbie, Mary, oh, it's lovely to have so many of you here and lovely to see so many of you wishing Alison a happy birthday. That's very special. Okay.
I didn't get her a badge though, did I?
You didn't get her a badge.
That was a prime opportunity to get the badge. Sorry, Alison.
Could have been. Could have been.
Sorry.
It's not good enough.
Hopefully she still had a nice time.
And I've just remembered,
Oh,
I haven't
no.
brought in our chart either, have I? If I send you out, I'm going to get the chart. Emma on our DT has sent us a behaviour chart for me and Pete to mark our misbehaviour.
Oh, I didn't know you were on it as well.
I think so. Yeah, I didn't. I only quickly looked through it, but I think it's to track both of us. You'll have to go get it at some point, and we'll start tracking. But yeah, first.
How big is the chart?
Big, big. Okay, so I know you want to see the new bits. So I promise I'm going to stop waffling in a minute and start talking about new products. But just quickly, the homework winner for this week is the lovely Laura Mahan. Laura has been chosen at random to receive our goodie bag this week. So Laura, if you are watching, could you please message the page and let us know if you'd like to pick up your prize or have it posted to you, and if so, what address you would like to have it posted to. But congratulations, Laura. As always, loads of incredible cards for what was this week's hashtag butterfly. Incredible creations, and it's lovely to see. And later on this evening, we'll set new homework for next week as well, so stay tuned for that. But I feel like we need to delve on in and show you some new goodies, because there is an awful lot to get through tonight, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So what I thought we'd do quickly, so we'll do a quick overview, because there is an awful lot to get through. So we'll do a quick flick through of the items, and then Pete is going to be on hand with loads of samples. I'm not going to be able to show you all of the samples tonight, because being honest with you, the DT have gone bonkers with the amount they've done with this collection, and we would be here till about 2 in the morning if I show you everything. But we'll share with you quite a good little amount of them, and we'll share some more with you on next week when we're sort of celebrating Stockist launch. So keep those sort of idea pads to hand, because we are going to have to share with you lots and lots of stuff. Now my camera's moved and you're getting to see my very dirty floor, so let's bring that back, because that's the last thing. There's wires everywhere and floors everywhere. So is that any better? Maybe. Honestly, you don't want to look around in here, it's filthy. As we live in a bonkers setup of just bonkersness, really.
We do. Our lovely Emma is watching us this evening, and she says apparently there's one chart each.
One chart
with
each.
Several pages.
Several pages to keep track of you.
I think she's picking up what we're like.
So, our first part of our brand new release, if you haven't guessed already from the top, is a brand new release in the Stencil Vault. So we bought you Stencil Vault Part 1 a little while ago, didn't we? Today, we bring you 20 more DL stencils as part of the Stencil Vault. Now, as I said, we'll run through these very quickly so you can see them, and then we'll go through them with examples shortly. But each one of these is $4.99, the recommended retail price. Now, don't forget, they will, of course, be on liveshopping.vip Saturday and Sunday, and then they will be available from our stockists from Tuesday. But there are 20 brand new designs that are going to work really, really well with one of the products that we're bringing you today as well. I am going to highlight this one. This one's my favourite. This one is G for giraffe. How cute is that? And you wait till you see the samples by that one. They are all incredible, but he is my fave. It helps that I call Pete a giraffe because he's nice and tall. So he's always been my giraffe and I've been his elephant because I'm short and fat and he's tall and skinny.
I don't think I've ever called you an elephant.
No, but that's always been like, I'm the elephant, you're the giraffe, hasn't it?
Oh.
Well, that's been. So, yeah, anyway, but I love the giraffe. It's a lovely stencil, but there is 20 Stencil Vault stencils giving you a whole host of backgrounds, and we'll take you through more of those shortly. But as a little glimpse at one of the items that's coming up, you have got 20 of those, and those will be $4.99 each individually. But of course, there will be bundle offers available from the shows this weekend and from the stockists as well. Now we move on to something else very exciting. And I know I'm doing this quickly because I want to just share with you all the goodie bits and then we're going to go through it in more detail. But this is rather cool. This is our brand new Jamie Rodgers Crafts crushed velvet paper. Now I'm going to see if I can find you a sheet of this so we can have a little look at it as we go through. But this is our brand new, can we see that on here? This is our brand new, it's kind of textured paper We've called it crushed velvet because it's got that lovely mottled effect to it. And it's available in 10 different colours, and they all come in single colour packs. Pete's gone ahead and handed in his favourite, which is this beautiful navy. But can you see that mottled finish to it? Can you see that coming through? And this is, so that texture you can see is there on the paper. And it's textured but not prominently textured. Textured enough that you could highlight it if you wanted to, but it's more about that two-tone crushed velvet look. So in here you're going to receive 10 sheets of A4 paper. They come in individual colours per pack, so this one is our moss green. The recommended retail price for these is $4.99. So $4.99 a packet, 10 sheets per packet, A4 in size. In weight, we are looking at 120 GSM. And there is lots of different colours. So we have got moss green, we have got mint mist, we have got rose red, we have got azure blue, we have got thunder fog. I forgot that name. I like that, thunder fog. Yeah. Then we have got bright white, antique white, denim, honey, and lastly dusky pink. So 10 brand new colours of paper for you to play with. Now these, as I say, they are a paper, they're 120 GSM, so that they're a lovely weight for you to be die cutting from and to be playing with. So loads of fun that can be done with these. Maybe you're going to take them into folding, maybe you're going to use them to ink on, stamp on, colour, die cut from. There's loads we can do with these. So moving forward, that takes us through the new papers. Where shall we go to next? Shall we look? Oh, let's bring these in, shall we? Now, don't forget, this is just a quick overview because we're going to come back to all of this in more detail shortly. But let's bring in our brand new Enchanted Sprinkles. Now, these are a mica-based powder, so a dye-based powder, sorry, with mica in them. And they are coming to you in 12 colours. Now, I'm not going to bring in all of the bottles because that's possibly a bit silly, but shall I show you the 12 colours on the boards? Let's have a look at this one to begin with. This one is Christmas green. Now, can you see the shimmer coming through there from the mica? Now, you imagine all of the different things that we can take these powders and mix them into. You've seen me do this for similar products before. Think about putting this into clear texture paste, into misters, into all of those different concoctions that we like working with and creating. But this time we've got the most intense dye-based powder I have ever worked with, filled with the most mica content I have ever seen in one of these style of products. Meaning that you're going to get the most bold colour and the most incredible shimmer. And there is 12 different colours throughout this collection. And we'll go through these again in more detail shortly, but just giving you a quick overview. Now, some of these stay as one shade, some of them are going to break off. So if you look at circuit breaker here, for instance, you're going to see red in there, you're going to see blue in there, and you're going to see like a gunmetal-y grey colour coming through in that. All finished with that most incredible mica finish. So loads and loads of colour in these. Then we've got our teal, and then we've got a couple more here, our pink and our orchid, all coming together to make these incredible colour schemes that we could play around with. Now, of course, we can use them as one colour like we are here, but you think about mixing these. Can you see the 3 or 4 shades coming through in this panel, all topped with that beautiful shimmery mica? Or maybe if we flick forward to this one and you can see the yellows and the blues come into play in this kind of candy floss pink one. Or maybe, oh, this one's a lovely one. Should we bring this one in with that little pop of red in here, the red and the yellow? Look at these. How shimmery, sparkly and fun are they going to be to play around with and create with? And as I mentioned, we can use these with our texture paste. So here's some clear texture paste put over mirror card with some of these mixed in with them to make a really cool coloured texture paste with like a crackled effect. Or maybe we're going to start using these over the top of the stencils that we had a little look at, our lovely brand new stencil vault stencils. You start bringing these in and playing around over the top of those to make these incredible background effects. all completely achievable and fun to play with, that are going to give you so many endless hours of fun. Even like the coffee bean one here with clear texture paste put through the stencil, and then the Enchanted Sprinkles pot over the top of them to make that really cool background. Taking prints from the stencils that we've put through the powders through, and then actually use the product that's on top of the stencil to take prints from them. So to give you a little glimpse at that, that's going to be your positive, your stencil down, powders over the top. That's going to be the print that comes off the top of the stencil. So nothing is wasted and everything is usable. But these go on and on and on. And the genuine endless options you're going to be able to create with these are ridiculous. Even taking them and mixing them in like we have here into our gemstones texture paste to make brand new colours of gemstones sparkly texture paste, all using our Enchanted Sprinkles. Because you know me, anytime we bring you a medium like this, it's all about what can we add this into, what can we create with it, how can we mix this into new products, make new things from it. So if we're mixing this into our gemstones, we could be mixing this into our clear glazes, we could be mixing this in with our re-inkers, we could be mixing these in or activating them with our elite misters. So we've got the colour coming from the mister and the colour coming from the Enchanted Sprinkles. So that's another 12 items. So we've done our papers, haven't we? So we've done all of the papers, we've done all of the stencils, and to top that off, we've done all 12 of our Enchanted Sprinkles. What do we think is missing from this incredible collection? I bet you can guess already. We need some dies, don't we? What are we going to be cutting out from? What are we going to be backing with? What are we going to be colouring? We need die cuts. So let's have a little look at the dies from this release. So in this release, we are going down a gardening theme. So we have got a wheelbarrow with beautiful debossed detail, including lots of detail actually on the wheel itself, and a little grass sprig to go with it. So our wheelbarrow, price-wise, because it's nice to give you little details as we go through, and if I miss anything, just yell. But the wheelbarrow's recommended retail price is $12.99. We then have what I predict to be one of the best sellers from this collection, and I have a feeling we're going to be sold out of this within no time. So if you like the look of this one, don't dilly-dally, get it while we've got it. This, of course, is your Garden Essentials tool set. Now this one is $14.99, and it's one die that's going to cut out all of them elements for you. We then move on to our plant pots. Look at these. So again, huge amount of debossed detail on them, and they've also got a cut line in them so that you can cut and place your flowers, giving you a little hint at what's coming, flowers into them, and then all of this pattern is going to deboss into that plant pot for you. So you're going to end up with some really cool, delicate plant pots to build up and create with. So we've got our wheelbarrow, we've got our tools, we've got our plant pots. What do we need next? I think you've already guessed it, we need some flowers. So we have got our daisy blooms. Now these, as you can see, there's a couple of different bits to these. We have got the stem that is going to stand perfectly in the pot. We then have a separate die with the flowers. So you can just treat this as an ordinary daisy die and build those up to make lovely flowers. You can treat this part just as a beautiful stem and use it as it is. But bring the two together and you've got the perfect flowers to go over the top and create 3D stems. And I purposely wanted these to be different flowers than what's on your stem, because you can cut that off and you can layer that multiple times if you want to, but actually bringing you a full flower to layer over that stem gives you much more scope. So within your set, you've got foliage, you've got flowers, and you've got the stem all to stand in that pot. And that one is the Daisy Blooms, which is $12.99. The plant pots, I don't think I told you how much they are. If I'm reading my list right, I think they are $13.99. Then we move on, and we're going to look at the hellebore blooms. So the hellebore blooms is this one here, and this one is $12.99. And very similarly again, we have got the stem, some foliage, and the flowers that can be built up on top of it or used individually. So it's up to you whether you mix and match them or treat them separately. And talking of mixing and matching, you think of bringing in those daisy blooms and putting it over that stem instead, because you're going to spot quite quickly that the stems are all different sizes, so that you can build up a much bigger garden or a much bigger plant pot or a much bigger effect, maybe even go into the same flowers but using different stems on top of each one if you wish to, or of course go in for a lovely mixed effect in your plant pots. Then we go off to the zinnia flower. So this one is the zinnia blooms. This one's the largest. So we've had the smallest, the medium, and now the largest. And the zinnia blooms is $14.99. And this one again, larger stem, more foliage, and again, lots of flowers that you can bring in and build up on top of that zinnia background, or use them individually. And as you can see with this one, lots of deboss work on there. So if you want to use it just as it is, that's going to be really, really pretty and delicate. But if you don't and you want to build it up, then absolutely you can do. Maybe you want to put the daisy on top of the zinnia. Maybe you want to bring in the hellebore and put that on there, or of course mix and match throughout. The choice is yours. Now, are you ready for the next bit? So, whenever we're talking about gardens and we've got all of this beautiful floral going on and we've got our tools and our wheelbarrows, we need some finishing touches to add on top of it. So how about a miniature elegant butterflies die set? Now, these are small, delicate butterflies all on one plate for you. So you're not going to lose them, you're not going to struggle to find them. They're all on one plate in a nice, easy to use fashion. Now, I don't think this one's wrote on my price list, or am I being blind? It is possible I've missed it on here, but I think it's not on the list. So I'll get Pete to have a little look. No, you're not getting told off at all. But this one die set, and you're going to get 2, 4, 6, 7 items cut out from that one. And again, you can see lots of deboss work in this one running through, and you'll also notice that the designs coordinate quite nicely with our original elegant butterflies. And if you're wondering size wise, is there much of a difference? That's the scope. This is what I wanted. I wanted just to have something slightly smaller that we could put in above the flowers, around the plant pots, and actually decorate up, because we start bringing in these ones, our original elegant butterflies, and the butterflies are bigger than the flowers, and I felt the scope there was a little bit out. So instead, much smaller butterflies for you to be able to sort of build up into your pictures and to see and sort of build and create a set. So Pete's just going to find me the price for the miniature elegant butterflies, so hold on to that thought and we'll find that in a second. In the meantime, I'm going to move on to the next bit. Oh, so our elegant butterflies, the miniature ones, these ones are $12.99 to give you a price point on those. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of gardens, I think of plant pots, I think of flowers, I think of butterflies. I, of course, think of looking after it and maintaining it. But we need a bit of a backdrop to go behind this, don't we? We need something that we can build up in front of. We need something to be the background to our collection, a background focal point, if you will. So how about a picket fence? So I introduce you to our picket fence die set. Now in here there are 8 dies, and you have got the rounded top panels and the flat top panels as such, or rectangle panels. And I've done it this way intentionally because it means that you've got your, of course, traditional picket fence top, but you've then got the struts to go across it, or you could make off a more squared style fence if you prefer. But it gives you the ability to build up your picket fences to whatever size you want them to be. And then talking of size, I've purposely give them to you in a nice long length, so you can use them right the way up to the longest point if you wish to, which is 7.3 inches. So if you're going to do an 8x8 card and you want this to be the front of it, you're looking at the perfect scope to go on that 8x8 and still have that top not overhanging. But of course, it doesn't matter whether we're going for the biggest one of our sort of rounded top or that really small little delicate one in the middle, we can trim them. We can make our fences, we can make our gates, and we can trim them down in length to wherever we want them to be. So I would prefer to give them to you in a long length and you trim them, then bring you short little panels that you wish were longer. Because I like the idea that that could be a little front on a card, that could be a proper little gate with a little plant pot in front of it, or it can be your whole card front with flowers traipsing all the way up it and growing all over it, or it could be used to create a lattice. So lots of different ways in which we can use this one. And this set is, as I scan down my little list, I'm going to go with $11.99. So $11.99 is going to give you your 8 dies for your picket fence set. And now, as you can see on our little diagram here, we've even made a little gate to go in the middle because you've got the sizes to do that. Or you could just do the gate, or you could just do the fence. The choice is yours. Now, with a fence, what do we want to be cutting a fence out of? What do we want it to look like? We know that we've got our lovely brand new velvet style paper, our crushed velvet papers, which are going to make beautiful flowers. But what about this here fence? We want something to make that look like a fence panel, don't we? So let me introduce you to another item that I have a feeling is going to disappear before our very eyes if it follows the last one of these we brought out. This time we are introducing you to the wood grain DL stamp. Now, our last one was the music DL stamp, and we have struggled to keep that in stock like nobody's business. This one is your wood grain stamp. So whether we're going to be building sheds, fence panels, just textured backgrounds, vintage backgrounds, whatever it wants to be, you have got a beautiful background stamp that can be stamped and matched up to whatever size piece of paper or card you wish to stamp on. Now, your DL stamp is about 8 by 4 inches approximately, but of course you can see how easy this is going to be to pattern match that and stamp it to whatever size you want it to be. So if you stamp your card first and then bring in your picket fence dies, as you can see, you can then cut out all of these panels from what you've just stamped, and you've now got the perfect wood grain on every single one of those panels. And of course we could be stamping in coloured inks, we could even be stamping using our Enchanted Sprinkles, or we could be choosing to heat emboss them to give a completely different look. So fence panels and wood grains. Now, I know this is a lot, isn't it? We've done stencils, we've done dies, we've done stamps, we've done papers, and we've done Enchanted Sprinkles. But I'm going to let you guess. Can you see what you think we may have missed so far from this gigantic release? So in my mind, we have got our background stencils, the product we're going to make them with, our pretty bits to go on the front of them and decorate them, and our papers to die cut those bits out of. When we build a collection, we try to make sure we have everything we need in that collection, so everything coordinates and everything works together. And the bit that I felt we was missing is, of course, our sentiments. So we have now got for you 5 brand new sentiments to top off this release. So we've got I miss you so much, hope your day is magical, best mum in the world, with love and wishes on your special day, and you are truly one in a million. The recommended retail price for these 4 is $4.99 each, and the I miss you so much is a bit smaller, so that one's recommended retail price is $3.99. And they add on to our collection that is already filled with over 15 different expressions in similar fonts and styles. And we're doing this intentionally because it might mean that you want to cut off some of these wording pieces and use the mum bit in the middle and then add in I miss you so much. Or it might be one of the previous ones that we've brought you that you wish to use in conjunction with these, because we're trying to build you a library that you've got them to use on the outside of the card, the inside of the card, the tag to coordinate, and then maybe a scrapbook page or a journal page that's going to document the event that you was sort of celebrating in the first place. All having it, all coordinate and all mix and match. Now that introduces you to all of the brand new products that we are going to be launching on liveshopping.vip and with our stockists next Tuesday. If you have any questions about any of that lot, please don't hesitate to let us know in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. But if you haven't got questions, shall we have a little look at a few samples? Because I have got oodles of samples to share with you. And I genuinely do mean oodles. So while Pete's finding some samples, I'll tidy up my desk a little bit so we don't get confused. We'll tidy some of these bits away. And shall we start, Pete, with the dies to begin with? And we'll start with the flower dies, I feel, because that'll be nice. And then we'll work our way around to the stencils. So of course, as we go through the samples, you're going to see that incredible crushed velvet paper being used in lots of different ways throughout. And then whenever we haven't been using this one really, or even sometimes together, but if we haven't been using that and it hasn't kind of been the focal, then of course it's all about our Enchanted Sprinkles. So you're going to get to see lots of different things with all of them. And as I say, I'm not going to show you every sample because I've got hundreds. I literally mean hundreds. And at this point, before I forget, I am going to say a huge thank you to our DT. You all know who they are by now, I'm sure, but we've got Emma, we've got Sharon, we've got Diane, we've got Lynn, Wendy and Ian, and they make up our incredible DT that bring you all of this incredible inspiration that means I get to share it with you. And do you know what? Although I make a lot myself, I absolutely love being able to share what they've been creating with you because they look at everything from a different lens, a different style. And that's us crafters, what we do, isn't it? We all sit down and want to sort of play and create, but I find that we all kind of go off in our own lanes at different stages in a brilliant way. And actually, when you look through their creations, you can really see that theme or style come through. And to be able to share that with you is a true pleasure. So thank you to all of the team for all of the incredible samples that I get to share with you. And I know that a lot of you have been enjoying Emma's videos as well, which is really lovely too, because not only are we now bringing you the cards on the lives and through the shows, but we're now also backing that up with some videos as well. And there's many more plans kind of coming into action in the few weeks as well to bring more content and more ideas to you as well. Pete's trying to steal my iPad so you don't see the corner of it, but he forgets I'm blind, and if I don't have it close, I'm not going to see your comments. So sorry if he keeps seeing the corner sneaking. That's the joy of getting sort of blinded in the years I sort of pass. Have we had any comments or questions I've missed? I know I'm going quite quick tonight, and I don't want to miss anything. So if I do miss anything, Pete's on hand to try and help us. There is an awful lot to go through, and we will run through prices again as we go through them individually, so that you can keep track of the bits that you like the look of. Now, of course, you know our stockists. A lot of the stockists will bring you bundle deals, and so, of course, will we have bundles on liveshopping.vip this weekend. But we'll tell you what the recommended retail prices are. So if you want to come in for individuals, then, of course, you can do that. But it's nice to know that there will, of course, be bigger bundles available from stockists and on the shows as well. So shall we start off then by having a little look at the hellebore blooms. So I want to show you the boards as we go through them this time as well, because I want you to see the level of debossing that's coming through on some of these. There's such beautiful, delicate work gone into each die cut. It's not just a plain die cut with an outline. These are genuinely jam-packed full of details that if you wish to colour them in, it's going to help guide you. If you wish to build up on top of them, it's going to help guide you as well. So the hellebore blooms is $12.99 recommended retail price. And if we just flick for a few of these quite quickly to give you some ideas of what you're going to be able to build. I'm not going to go into each of the DT members each time because it'll slow me down, but I want to just show you some of the beautiful things that they've all been creating. As we kind of flick through these, I've got so many cards to share with you tonight. Honestly, it's a lot. But you know what? That's the brilliant bit, isn't it? Is having all of that inspiration to share in different formats to make sure that we're all equally as inspired. So when it gets to creating, we know exactly what cards and styles we want to be working in. And there is hundreds of them. And as I say, next week, when we do Stockist launch night, we will have a little look through these again, and we'll do it a little bit slower, and we'll give shout outs to the individual creators, but genuinely again to all of them, thank you so much for what you've been creating. Then we move on and we've got daisy blooms. So another one here, and you're going to see all of the detail that's debossed on these. Let me see if my camera can go. There we go. Can you see those coming through? Look at all them beautiful details. Now, of course, you know flowers, you know how to shape them, but whether we're rounding these, whether we're using our ball tool, whether we're going to pinch those petals with some tweezers, there are so many ways we can bring this daisy to life to make that truly, truly beautiful. Now, your daisy is $12.99. So let's have a little look at what we can be doing with this one. So here's one where we've brought in that crushed velvet paper in the background. So hopefully you can see this. It's always tricky to know what to call a product. Me and Pete go back and forth for absolutely hours. But to us, this really looked like a crushed velvet style. But it also kind of looks a bit like concrete. It's kind of got that mottled effect of concrete and that kind of texture that could easily make you think of like rough concrete on a wall, or or stairs or something. And I'd say this because it's nice to know you can make this really pretty if you want to, but again, very vintage, very masculine. So maybe you could be using this with the travel collection, for instance, and building that up in that format. Here's one Sharon's done where she's die cut her flowers from it. And that's really lovely because it gives you such a tactile finish to your flowers and such depth and such movability. They're beautiful. So really lovely way to use them. Another one, you're going to see these papers used on a lot of flowers. But as we go through these, and foliage again, look at the foliage cut out of that lovely moss shade. This one's lovely by Lynn, where she's done the daisies coming down diagonally across the card. Another one here, bringing in the patchwork collection and then some of the Enchanted Sprinkles in the background. This one's lovely. This one's done by Diane, where she's stacked them up to make this beautiful reef style look. Another one, lovely one here, where Wendy stamped that wood grain over one of our foiled panels. Oh, this one's rather impressive. Look at this. How cool is this? What a lovely card. Doesn't it look like the sun's sort of coming up and these beautiful flowers are there? You've got that beautiful sort of horizon-esque look to this. And then, of course, our sentiments come in at the top there, raised up. The butterflies, these, of course, are the new butterflies. And these, can you see how they've been cut out of a sheet that's been created with the Enchanted Sprinkles? And then, again, another little one here by Ian. Ian's brought in the metallic waxes and gone over all of the die cuts, including them beautiful plant pots, and just give that little bit of depth, that antique finish to them by using those waxes, which are, of course, really beautiful to work with. Then moving on, we'll have a little look at the zinnia blooms. So again, if we start off here with a board, I want you to see the level of debossing on these. So don't forget to use your rubber mats when you're doing your die cutting so that we get that beautiful depth going through, even down. Can you see the tiny, tiny, tiny little dots to mark out the middle? Can you see those? Please excuse my very nasty nails. Honestly, we've been building the warehouse this week and I'm literally covered in cuts and bruises and all sorts. And my hands look awful, so please forgive them. But yeah, lots and lots of detail coming through, even right down into the very middles of the flowers, all the way down each of the petals, even through all of the foliage. Every part of that is going to be pretty and delicate for you and easy to add colour to or build up. Your zinnia blooms is $14.99. Should we bring in a little bit of inspiration with this one as well? So these ones have been coloured with alcohol markers and then I've applied the metallic waxes over the top. Sharon's done a beautiful one here where she's built these up over our patchwork panels and then brought in our beautiful corners to the edges. This one again by Sharon where she's popped them into the plant pot, and this is what I'm on about that slit line for you to tuck your flowers into it so they really do look like they've been potted. Another beautiful one here, isn't that gorgeous? I love the fluted rectangles that have been used to create the card blank and then layered up with another one of those fluted rectangles, and then he added the flowers on. The flowers, the stem, and of course the sentiment all cut out of sheets which have been created with the Enchanted Sprinkles. Then a couple more here. This one's lovely. This one's done by Wendy. Wendy's created a little like pocket style look with the triangle dies, adding in the stitch pieces. This one's just rather impressive, isn't it? This one's Wendy again. Wendy's brought in the flowers that she's used, the sheets that she's created again, using the Enchanted Sprinkles. But also what's lovely is how these pieces have all been die cut out of sheets, which have been created using the gilding flakes. So it's kind of showing you how all our mediums are coming together and working together, aren't they? So whether we're bringing in the waxes, we're bringing in the Enchanted Sprinkles, we're bringing in the flakes, it all works together to create some absolutely beautiful projects. Then moving on, let's have a little look. Laura Mann, did you see you've won? You won the homework this week. Was you here for that? I don't know if you see that. Was she? Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, if you haven't, it's at the beginning of the video. But yes, the suitcases would look lovely out of the crushed velvet papers. Then a little card here for you that I created, making a little gatefold using our lovely picket fence dies. Sticking to white work for this one. So on the outside we've got flower. Oh, I've lost some pearls. I remember now I went to photograph this one and didn't photograph it because the pearls had fell out of it. Honestly, what am I like? But beautiful plant pots, all embossed using that rubber mat. All of this detail embossed for you. All of the detail coming through the foliage and the stems, all working for you. Then the little tools being added into the pots as well. Now, this one's done by Sharon, and I wanted to show you this one in detail because this is really cool. Sharon's created a little gardener's notes, and in here she has created little pockets that she's then put seeds into. And as you flick through the book, there is all of the flowers been used, all of the little areas to write your notes on, and she's printed this using her printer on top of our crushed velvet paper, which I thought was really interesting to see. So it's proper printed on a home PC, home printer on top of that paper, which is nice to see another way of using it. And then die cut out all the panels, added in the triangles, and then tuck these little flower seeds in throughout the booklet. Now, I don't know about you, but I know several people in my world that would love this, especially my father-in-law, because what a lovely gift to give for a birthday or a present, Father's Day maybe, with all of these sort of gardening bits attached to it, and then that gift of growth, that gift of a present that's going to come to life throughout the year and make a lovely, lovely gift that's going to just really be beautiful. And I thought that was a really special idea. Then moving on, we've got a lovely card by Lynn. So Lynn's brought in all of the different flowers and the picket fence and some of the sentiments to make this really cool Z style card, all built up on little panels. So everything pops up but folds down relatively flat to go into an envelope or a little shallow box. Isn't that lovely? And this is lovely. This one's done by Diane. And when I see this, I said to Pete, do you know what? I don't even need to do any demo boards. I don't know why I'm doing demo boards, because this shows it better than my demo boards ever could. Here we have got the hellebore, and Diane has shown you perfectly how we can plant that into a pot and then have that trailing up your project. Or take the flowers and turn them into corners, wreaths, decorations, embellishments. When we slide up the frames, we move on to the daisy, and Diane's demonstrated that again perfectly. Potted or decorative into that lovely corner detail. And then as we go off the top here and we carry on up, we've got the zinnia, and Diane's done exactly the same again. So we've got our flowers coming around in a corner element, and of course our flower down here on the side for you. And she's even used our alphabet set to do all of the words running throughout these. And of course the frames have been created and wrapped in our crushed velvet paper. So that one of course is our moss green that's been used to create the actual frames with. Isn't that beautiful? I love projects like this, and I could see that although Diane stopped at 3 frames, you could carry on, you could go wider if you want to. This could be a proper heirloom that's going to be passed down from generation to generation, because it's just beautiful. Now, moving on to our butterflies, let's share with you a little bit of inspiration from these ones. So these, of course, and you've seen these in quite a few places, but these are the miniature elegant butterflies, and we remembered that these ones were $12.99, didn't we? So beautiful embossed detail running through the wings on the solid ones, and then of course beautiful delicate cutout details on the other ones, giving you that kind of option to go embossed or of course die cut and filigree. When we bring these in, don't they look amazing put onto our projects? Whether they're sort of built up to one side like this one or splattered across your projects and sort of made into a beautiful background, it's up to you. This is gorgeous. This one again done by Diane, and you're going to notice this time that Diane's brought in an ink pad and rubbed that over the top of the embossed ones to give that two-tone effect, which you know I absolutely love. And then you're going to notice these little circles are different stencils that have been used to create those beautiful poppy circles coming throughout this project, which I thought was really lovely. I also like, and I like to point these bits out as we go through projects, how Diane's added in these little lines and dots, because it kind of fills in that background, doesn't it? It gives it a more sort of collective feel to it, and it matches in with the black that's been used on the panels and of course on the butterflies. Then moving on, we have got our picket fence. Now our picket fence die set is, let's have a little look because I forgot, honestly, memory like a sieve today. The picket fence die set is $11.99. So when you see that cut, these are all of the different panels you're going to get. 4 rounded tops, 4 plain rectangles, giving you everything you need to build up into your garden gates, your fences, your different panels. Now even this long thin one makes the perfect garden gate, and you're going to see on this card I've actually created that Z on the back to create the structure of it, and then use the long panels across the top. And when I did this one, I did think about cutting it down so it was slightly thinner, but I actually kind of liked it as it was, and then bought in our plant pot and added that on instead. Our plant pot, of course, has been cut from the crushed velvet paper in the dusky pink, and then I've rubbed a grey ink pad over the top to get the two-tone effect between the emboss and the deboss, and then I've used the moss green from the crushed velvet paper for the stems, and then brought in the white and that beautiful, beautiful honey to make the middles of my flowers. Then if we move on, you're going to get used to this because I've done a few of these. So again, another one of our sort of picket fence stylings in the background. Again, showing you a different size up in the actual pieces to give you a different scope and different direction and different dimension. But again, bringing in the daisies to put on the top there, adding in the flower pots. Now we see one of the large picket fences earlier, didn't we? So I'll bring in a couple more of these. This one's lovely. Wendy's done this one, and Wendy's used our oval dies, our nesting oval dies, to make the arch to go across the top, which I thought was brilliant because it gave you a place to land all of your foliage, maybe add on some flowers if you want to, maybe stand a plant pot on the front there. But you know, I love the way it's left quite open. That could even make a nice archway or styling to pop a little miniature bride and groom in the middle of maybe. Then as we move on, another one here done by Ian. Ian's gone for a more open style fence, which is really lovely because then you get to see the flowers coming in from behind them, and he's added some of our gold glitter to our daisies, which looks really lovely. Another one here with some beautiful colouring being done on that plant pot by Ian. Doesn't that look like a really lovely vintage plant pot? Then as we move on, let me just swap here for a second. We'll just swap in mics. Then we'll look at this one. This one's done by Sharon. Sharon's bought in the bicycle from the Vintage Travel collection and then stood it against the fence. And this is what I love. You know, we've seen steam here from the train in the Vintage Travel. We've got the bike from the Vintage Travel. We've got some of the lavish foliage also being bought in with them fence panels. And this is what I love about our collections. It is all working together. It is all mixing and matching. Now this one's done by Lynn, and I absolutely fell in love with this card when I see it. Lynn has created her picket fence using the wood grain stamp over the top, building up these beautifully delicate flowers, of course, which have been cut out of sheets created with the Enchanted Sprinkles. And then in the top area, she's brought in the best mum in the world, adding on a few butterflies as well to give some really pretty delicate effects to it. Then when we open up on the inside, we've got grass running across the bottom and then some of the gardening gloves as well. I thought that was lovely. Then another one here, this one is done by Diane, and Diane's used the panels because it's not only about making up picket fences. Diane's used those to make up this really cool lattice panel instead, like a fence panel, but a lattice fence panel, and framed it in our pierced and plain rectangles with scalloped edges, and then even used those panels to make up this background as well by sticking them white on white to give that like fake embossed or faux embossed effect, which is really lovely. And then the last one of these I'm going to share with you, this one is by Wendy, and Wendy has made this one. How cool is this? I don't know how well I'm going to show it to you on camera because it's a bit tricky to hold up, but we've got an acetate front wrap round with the fence placed on the front of it, the plant pots, the tools, the wheelbarrow all coming in, and then even the panels being used as like little pavers running across the bottom there. And then when we open this up, we've got plant pots, we've got flowers, we've got more tools, and of course wording all added onto the inside. Doesn't that make the most beautiful card? And Wendy's thought of everything. Even when this folds down flat to go in your envelope, on the reverse she's used a happy birthday line stamp to do the little run across the top and the bottom. So perfect area to write your sentiment, but every part of that is then decorated and ready to show, which I thought was really, really beautiful. Okay, moving on to some inspiration with our plant pots. Let's have a little look at these. So the plant pots, the recommended retail price on these ones, I've covered up my list, let me dig for a second. These ones are $13.99, and in here we receive 5 dies, and each one of these is going to emboss for you beautifully. So whether that's the wood on the barrel one, then beautiful sort of terracotta pots, or of course even like our little window box down the bottom here, which of course would make a perfect window box. You can cut those little feet off if you wish to, or of course you can have it as like a planter instead. And every one of them has that little cut line, so you can poke in and create the illusion that your flowers are actually in the pots. So quick little run through of some samples here, a couple done by Sharon, where she's sort of used the planter. This one using the barrel. This one, oh, this is lovely. This one again done by Sharon. She's used some of the Enchanted Sprinkles in the background, and she's brought in our cottage pub and stood the plant pot in the front of it. This one's lovely by Lynn, where she's built up the plant pots and added in the flowers. Also brought in some flower soft to make it look like soil coming out, and then added in the tools across the bottom of it. Used the script stamp in the background to give that vintage feel. This is really cool. This one's done by Ian, and Ian has added a little handle onto his plant pot to turn it into a cup, which I thought was incredible. You're going to get to see these cups again when we get to the coffee bean stencil shortly, because Ian's done a similar idea to turn them into coffee beans. I even like the way he's added in the saucer, trimming off the top of the plant pot to make the effect of the saucer to go, of course, with the cup. Another little set here of plant pots. Again, some mud coming out of this one, or some soil coming out of this one. Some extra detail being added on here to our wooden barrels. Then we've got our butterflies in play on that one as well. And then this one's cool because this one again has got our crushed velvet paper being used in the background, but you might be able to see some light blending over the top of that. There's some light blending, there's some nice bluey hues coming through over the top of the white, showing you that again with your paper you can of course distress it and add to it and make it even more vintage if you wish to. And then we're going to move on, and we have got the tools now. So we've got our lovely garden essential tools. So we have got spades and rakes and secateurs and all sorts going on in here, even little plant pots and wellies. I personally absolutely love the wellies. Now these again have got some deboss work on there, there's some etched work, and you're going to notice like the flowers that are debossed into the watering can of course match the flowers that we see debossed into the plant pots. So it looks like you've gone to a very posh garden centre and bought a perfect matching set. Now, wellies just make a fun card, don't they? So maybe different colours of wellies, and of course you're going to see in the background here our stencil, vault stencil. Then our tools, they can make a lovely little display on their own. So I've just scored the background of this on a scoreboard and then brought in the different tools and put them on the card. And this of course could stand in multiple directions. And a bit like when we spoke about the tools from the mechanical collection, which was an incredibly popular die. That one sold out virtually overnight and we had to wait for that one to come back in again. And I have a feeling this one's going to do the same if I'm being honest. But a bit like when we spoke about that one, think about building up borders, patterns and even words using the tools. There's no reason why we can't spell bits out with them, or of course make backgrounds or big borders to go around pages. Or of course, and I'm going to go through these ones quite quickly because I know we're a long way into tonight's live and we haven't yet made anything, have we? But hopefully you're enjoying seeing all this inspiration. But you look at this one with the little shelves that have been created and all of these pieces put on them. Then you go to a completely different project like this little small card here by Sharon, or maybe this one by Lynn, where Lynn's brought in and added on all of these different windows, which I really love, and built those up. And then speaking of windows, another one here done by Lynn, where she has used that little plant pot, that little trough, as a window box instead, which I thought worked really nicely. And then on the inside you've got the watering can as well, all done on a lovely craft card base. Now we mentioned earlier using our wood grain stamp, didn't we, to make sheds and different bits. So shall we bring this one in? This one again done by Lynn. She's made a proper shed here, panelled it and everything, even made the little gate, used our triangle dies to make the hinges. She's full of everything, and of course decorated it with the wood grain stamp. Now wellies can be quite posh and very sort of on point at the moment. So Diane's done some lovely polka dot ones for this one here, which I thought was really cute. And then Wendy's done a tag for us, a garden shed tag with the wheelbarrow and sort of all the tools and the plant pots being brought in as well. So let's move these ones out of the way and we'll move on to the next ones. The Garden Essentials die set, by the way, is $14.99 is the recommended retail price for that set. And although we class it as one die, there is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Was it 11? I think it's 11 items in that one. Might have been 12, but I think it's 11. Pete will verify. He'll be our independent adjudicator. Then let's move on. 11, yeah, I got confused by, I think it was it might have been the gloves, I don't know, you know what I'm like with counting. Okay, so moving on, we've got the wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow has two dies in here. We've got the little grass element and then we've got the wheelbarrow. And just like before when we was looking at the watering can and the plant pots, you're going to get that same beautiful detail embossed onto this so that it does again look like a beautiful coordinating set. Now what I also love is how impressed I was with the detail that come out on the wheel. Look at that wheel. Again, when it comes to colouring it and decorating that up, that's going to be really easy to achieve some beautiful effects. Whether we place some tools in there, whether we put some rubble and bits in there or some fence posts, or of course have it sort of overflowing with beautiful blooms, the choice is yours. Now I know when Ian see this, the first thing he thought of, which is rather impressive, is turning this wheelbarrow 3D. So he's taken it and he's built a little box in between two of them, even shaped it, as you can see, so it's the right kind of angle for a wheelbarrow, and then infilled it with lots of flowers and some of the tools and some foliage and bits to make a really cool 3D effect. Now you imagine these if you're having a bit of a party or maybe a barbecue and you want to make some table name settings to go on each of your sort of seatings. That would be really cool to have those and then add the name on, wouldn't it? How cool would that be? Or maybe you've got a sort of spring summery wedding that's coming up that you could use these to hold your favours or again be your sort of name places. I just think there's loads we could do with this. I think there's a lot of scope for taking these and building these up. Or of course, and it wouldn't have to be too big, you could have that as the centre of an exploding box, which would be really lovely. And I know Easter's just gone, but you imagine sticking some little eggs in there as well, or maybe like one big cream egg in the middle of an exploding box, how lovely that would be, and fit in very nicely with that sort of spring-esque moment. Now again, lots of inspiration with our wheelbarrow being brought in with lots of different styles here, whether we're sort of standing it in front of a shed, whether we're making box frames out of it, whether we're sort of bringing it in for a sort of comical. This one, I know it isn't meant to, but it makes me think somebody's fell inside the wheelbarrow, which I thought was really funny and I like that. But lots of different scope here for building up that wheelbarrow and creating some really cool effects. And again, doesn't of course have to be, but it could be something quite masculine if you wanted it to be, or of course very bright and feminine. And this is what I love. It's kind of giving you those foundational elements to build up with. Now this little hanging basket here that's stuck onto these like wood grain panelled areas, I love the fact that that has been created with the wheel from the wheelbarrow. So Ian's literally snipped that off and turned that into a little hanging element to then place some flowers into, which I thought was very clever indeed. Now, what's next, Peter? What can we share with them next? So, these are nice. We'll just do a quick flick through these, just so you can see what I mean about the sentiment. So don't forget that I Miss You So Much. The recommended retail price for that one is $3.99. All of these other ones are $4.99, but it's nice for you to actually get to see how they cut out, so you can see just how beautifully delicate they are and the sort of size and scope of them that you're going to be able to work with, whether that's on a gift tag, whether that's on the inside, the outside of your card, maybe it's for journaling, maybe it's for scrapbooking. You know, you imagine all of your sort of family photos that you could pop in front of you are truly one in a million. That could be really lovely actually. Or maybe it is that we're thinking of Mother's Day, or maybe it is that we're thinking of somebody we miss and haven't seen for a little while. But again, this builds up part of our library. There is already 15 of these available, I believe, by memory, and there is quite a few more en route as well, covering lots and lots of occasions throughout the year. And I tell you this because, like I said earlier, it's really nice to know that maybe you've got Hope Your Day is Magical to go on the inside of your card or the outside of your card or your gift tag, and then you've got a coordinating happy birthday to go on the other area and bits like that. So they'll all fit sort of size and scope wise and coordinate throughout. Now our wood grain DL stamp, the recommended retail price for this one is $11.99. And when you look at how beautiful this one is, whether we stamp it and build it up as a frame, or whether we heat emboss it for our beautiful fence panels, then like Diane has here, bringing these beautiful gold die cuts, all embossed with those beautiful dies, and then add those all the way around this very opulent kind of creation and card. And Diane chose to decorate all areas of this so the eye is entertained whatever way we're looking at that one. And then lastly from Ian, with this stamp in mind, I've got another little hanging basket, this time on a little shed again, and Ian's even made the door open so we can have a little peek inside the shed. And then when we open this one up, we can see inside he's hung up his tools, he's got his gloves in there, his watering can, and of course a little plant pot ready to be potted up for the next season. Okay, that completes the collection of sort of the garden collection as such. But let's move on to the stencil vault and have a little look through some of the stencil vault samples. Now, of course, our DT has taken these off on a few different tangents. So there's lots of the garden collection used throughout the stencil vault samples, but you're also going to see things like the music collection come in, maybe the patchwork collection, bits like that, because of these stencils are all about being able to use with all manner of themes and styles, and really kind of giving you the foundations to build up on top of, whether we're using them with texture pastes, whether we're using them with our machines to emboss them, whether we're of course using them with our brand new Enchanted Sprinkles, or one of the other mediums that we already have available, or of course you might already have in your stash. But it doesn't matter which way we go, there is so much we can do with these. Now, don't forget, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask as we go through all this lot, because there is lots to take you through this evening. But if you've got questions, I certainly don't want to miss them. Now, all of the stencil vault stencils, recommended retail price for these is $4.99 each. We're going to start off with this one, which is number 21, and it is woven lines. So a couple here. This one's cool. This one's been embossed or debossed as such. So it's got lots of texture going on, and then it's been created using our Enchanted Sprinkles, and of course bringing in our beautiful train and items on that one to decorate up with some gold mirror card. So 21 woven lines. I do now feel like we're playing bingo, so be warned. Number 22 is Drops of Wonder. Now I love this because it is little droplets, and again, if we're thinking gardening, we might want to sort of nod to the idea of water in the garden or rain maybe, but these little droplets, little teardrops here, really to me are very pretty. And again, whether we're cutting these stencils down, because they are DL in size, but it doesn't mean we have to use all of it. So this one is literally made out of one half of that panel. If I skip ahead to this card, that's the other half of this panel. So one stenciled background, two cards from it, two very different cards, two different sizes, two different styles, two different mats and layer styles, two different build-up styles, but all out of one panel that of course has been created with a combination of our Enchanted Sprinkles being sort of placed over the top of it. Now this one's lovely, by Wendy. Wendy has used our crushed velvet paper, and she has then coloured over the top of it with some inks as well, again showing you how that paper is going to take inks beautifully. Then one here by Sharon, where she's also used our Enchanted Sprinkles to make up that beautiful effect over the top of an embossed panel. Then if we move on, so that was 22, Drops of Wonder. Oh, it's a bit like the charts actually, isn't it? Is it bingo or the chart? At number 23, we've got the Oriental screen. I feel we're counting down the wrong way. They start at 40 and go down, don't they? We've done this all wrong, Peter. Let's have a little look at this one. So again, embossed from some gold mirror, and then bringing in our beautiful flowers that we're of course bringing in with you today, and our butterflies and our foliage, and building that one up all in golds and silver mirror card. Another one here created with our Enchanted Sprinkles, and this again is showing you the positive. So lay the stencil down, place the powders over the top, mist with water, remove the stencil and take a print from that stencil. So print in this hand, positive in that hand. So positive and negative, same stencil, same Enchanted Sprinkles, making sure we're getting double value, two cards from one background, which we love. Another one here by Sharon, again bringing in some texture paste over the top of that being embossed. Another one by Sharon where she's gone to our lovely floral lace die cuts and built them in and laid them over the front of it. And another one by Sharon where she's used the plant pot die set and stenciled over the top of those, and brought in lots of our flowers and foliage to create with. And then Ian's done a cool trifold card, which is great because sometimes I think when we look at DLs we kind of go for one panel, but it shows you how easy it would be to match that up into a much larger background with them. And I like the way he's kind of blocked off this middle part with quite a thin copy of paper, so you still see the background come through it, but you've got the perfect place to write over the top of it, and you're not going to lose that ability to actually write on the card. And then another one from Ian. I know this one's Ian even without reading the back of it. Ian does this incredible kind of colour scheme where he brings in red, gold and black, and it always looks really beautiful, but this time actually teamed with our flowers cut from the Enchanted Sprinkles and our butterflies and our sentiments. Just really looks lovely. So that one was number 23, Oriental Screen. Moving on to number 24, we have got G is for Giraffe. Now I love this one. This is such a cute stencil. Doesn't that just make, it might just be me, and you are allowed to tell me this in the comments if you think it's just me. I never mind, we're all different, we all have our different sort of flavours and styles. But every time I see this one, I just smile. It makes me so happy to see that beautiful giraffe looking at us. It's a stencil that I think I could use for teenagers, for men's cards, for birthday cards, for every occasion really, because it just makes me smile. Now, as talking of occasions, Diane has taken this stencil off in a different direction, which I love. This card, you're going to see this stencil coming up shortly, and you might not notice it straight away, but it's actually been done with our gemstones texture paste, and she's used our rose gold and our heliodor, which is the gold, to create a two-tone effect. On the front here we've got "With love and wishes on your special day," and that's over the embossed coffee bean stencil, which is number 40. When we open this up, because you're thinking it's showing us the giraffe, I can't see any giraffe yet, where's the giraffe? Have a little look on the inside of this. Diane has perfectly taken this, and she's done one rose gold, one heliodor, and because it's a stencil, which is what I love with stencils, depending on which way you're using it, you can have them looking at each other, which makes the most beautiful wedding card or anniversary card or Valentine's card, because suddenly we've got that beautiful effect of these two staring into each other's eyes, passing on that lovely warm message. I love this card. I thought it was really, really classy. And then taking it off on a completely different tangent, again from Diane, but again bringing in our gemstones texture paste, this time in the black onyx, and using this to create the giraffe and then just snipping around it to free him out of there. And then again using one of the next stencils we'll be coming up to later on to make up the background around the actual frame as well. Now, Diane, when we were talking about these stencils, she was really excited to get her hands on this one. This is the coffee bean stencil. And I said to her, what are we going to do with the coffee bean stencil? What's that about? Why the sudden interest in coffee beans? She was like, there's so much more we can do with coffee beans. And I think we're getting to see that coming through in Diane's samples, aren't we? Where she's embossed it in the background here. Here she's used a little pen and turned these into beautiful leaves to go in to create that effect, of course, for our giraffe to take centre stage. And what I love about this one, the way Diane's inked it and created it, when I looked at it, I was like, that's MDF. That's an MDF laser cut giraffe in there that's been lasered into and created that text. It isn't. It is just blending ink over card. How cool is that? Love that effect. And then talking of effects and creations with our giraffe, one by Wendy here. Wendy's done some incredible printing with this over coloured paper and then trimmed it out. And another one here by Wendy, again showing you, two separate projects, but bringing them in again to show you them looking at each other in two different directions, because it's all about what side you're going to use and what direction you start off with. And then in the background of this one, using the Enchanted Sprinkles to make that beautiful background effect. Then moving on, we have got number 25, triangles. Now this is a cool one, very geometric design, and just a quick card this time by Sharon, showing you these lovely, beautiful mirror card circles that have been embossed with that stencil. Then moving on to number 26, we have got Diagonal Swish. Does actually sound like a band, doesn't it? Diagonal Swish at number 26. This time again, bringing that one in and using it with our Enchanted Sprinkles, and then putting a little vellum wrap around it and some flowers, again created with our Enchanted Sprinkles. And then this one done by Sharon. How cool is this? And this is nice because sometimes we forget about this, or I do. We kind of stick to card making and forget about taking it off into different directions. But how about a little notebook booklet that Sharon has taken and then created a little wrap round using that beautiful stenciled panel, and then of course our patchwork panel and our butterfly that of course is in this release as well. Then moving on, we are on to number 27, Faded Squares. So Faded Squares is number 27, and when we start bringing these ones in, you can see some lovely effects being created with these, again with our Enchanted Sprinkles clear texture paste over mirror card, and then built up with our flowers in different ways. This one is clear texture paste and then the Enchanted Sprinkles put over the top of it. This one by Ian is really cool because he's used it to create like a little sack to go in his shed. Maybe it's full of soil or potatoes or whatever it may be, but a little sack there to go in his shed. I also like the really cool little spider that is drawn in the top there as well. Proper spooky shed. All we need is a little mouse and that shed is complete. Then moving on, we've got number 28, cubed squares. Now for this one, I've brought in our clear texture base and our Enchanted Sprinkles, and I've placed them over the top of it. And then I've added on our little electric guitar, and I've used the You Are Truly One in a Million down the bottom here, and paper pieced back in the black star to match in with the black layers running throughout the project, and of course the guitar. Sharon has done a few of these, but these are proper canvases, which I really love, because it's so nice to see how we can take our products off again into different directions. Whether that's home decor or gift giving, it's going to work for you in lots of different ways. This one was me taking a print of the stencil I'd created here onto a circle die cut. I've lost a little bit of the detail because I'd used a bit too much water, but I like the way that kind of cube pokes through in different areas throughout that project. Then moving on to number 29, we have got the swish swash. Swish swoosh? Swish swoosh? Yeah? Swish swoosh?
We'll go with that.
We'll call it swish swoosh. So swish swoosh used here with clear texture paste, and in the texture paste, Wendy has brought in our gilding flakes and mixed them up into the clear texture paste to give that really cool glaze effect, and then used a sheet of that to actually die cut from to make our flowers. I love it when I see this effect created, because it just gives us a whole new element and style that we can create using clear texture paste and gilding flakes. Number 30 is get to the point. It's probably very good for me actually, isn't it? Get to the point. Our lovely sort of diagonal arrows running through this one. And again, perfect tyre track style look to go, of course, with our car collection. Or our was it mechanical collection that had the cars? It was, wasn't it? Mechanical collection that came out way back in January. And this one's been embossed and then coloured over the top to make that tyre track effect, which I thought was very, very cool. Again, done by Wendy. At number 31, we have got faded hexagons.
They do sound like the charts.
I'm doing it on intentionally. It's either that or I go try and do the bingo calls, and I can never remember what the bingo calls are, other than legs 11.
Just as well, possibly.
And that's about it. Legs 11 and Kelly's eye number 1. That's about it. But when we go through this on faded hexagons, you can see we can emboss it or deboss it. We can emboss it. We can, of course, use it with our texture paste and our Enchanted Sparkles. We can do some really cool inky effects with it. And then when we move on, what did I call them? Sparkles. It's going to happen, isn't it? Enchanted Sprinkles. I will get there. I'm terrible with names. Pete knows that better than anybody. Names, they just go in one ear and out the other. Number 32 is piano keys. We could call that Alicia keys for short. Probably not much shorter, is it? So piano keys number 32. This, of course, is going to work beautifully with the music collection, and of course, in particular, our piano die set that came out a little while ago is going to work perfectly with that one. And that, of course, is number 32. There's not many more to go, I promise, if you're still with us. Oh, I missed 2. Give us those backs, thank you. 2 more with the piano keys, just to give you a little glimpse at some different styles. Because although it's piano keys, it doesn't have to be, which is really nice to see. Number 33 is diagonal dashes. So this one again looks a little bit like rain, which is really cool, because again, thinking of the flowers and that sort of styling, embossed, or of course working with our Enchanted Sprinkles and some clear texture paste. This one looks like a lovely rough choppy seed, isn't it? Love that. And then we move on to another one by Wendy, where Wendy's gone grey for her dashes and added in the cogs and corners bits to give that kind of mechanical look, which is really lovely. Then we're going to move on to number 34. 34 is woven links. Now I'm going to have to be honest with you, when our DTC this one, they were like, it looks like underpants, which it does a little bit. And they had a bit of a kind of a bidding war, if you will, to get their mitts on our underpants. That sounds really wrong. Our woven links we're going to stick to for this. And Diane was one of the lucky ones who got her hands on it. And Diane had to go down the underpant way with this. And of course has brought in our cuddly clan member, our lovely Hazardous Henry, and turned him into a superhero. Added in with our Sorry You're Feeling pants from our Velvet Script die set. And then down the bottom here, get well soon. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cool? Don't we love that? Isn't that just so thinking outside the box and going off on a different tangent? This is one of my favourite cards. I love it. And then we move on again to another one here with some clear texture paste and our Enchanted Sprinkles. And another one here with just Enchanted Sprinkles used over it. And then a really cool idea by Wendy. And I hear from Pete that Wendy said she wasn't too sure about this. When I see it, I absolutely fell in love with this because it is literally a little Velcro wallet, which inside she's added like a little card. But that could be a gift card, couldn't it? And that's what I love about this. It could be a little gift in there. It could be so many different things. But what a lovely little wallet to be able to send and give a gift in or a note in or a little something. It could even be a gift tag, couldn't it? Maybe you're going to buy somebody a box of chocolates, but you want to add on a little gift tag with a little card in there to go and spend a tenner somewhere, you know, that kind of idea. It could be a really nice way to give a bit more to your gift without having to just hand over a card. Then we move on to number 35, which is called Tricky Triangles. And Tricky Triangles, again, beautiful embossed, beautiful brought through with the Enchanted Sprinkles, been mixed in with clear texture base. I've done it now, that's it. It's never going to be right again. And then here again with some glitter mixed in as well to give a bit of a sparkle. Very cool one, this one. I like that in the white and blue. I love white and blue together on that. That's really, really cool. Emma likes the pants. Diane likes the pants. Oh no, Sheila likes the pants. Lynn thinks the pants are brilliant. Ian reckons they're rather cool. They are, aren't they? Sorry I've not read too many of your comments tonight. We will go back in a minute once we've got to the end of these. 36 is zigzag. And as you can see, lots of zigzag effects with this one. Again, comes in for lots of different occasions, whether it's with the travel collection, the Christmas collection, the mechanical collection. Them sort of zigzags are going to work brilliantly for so many occasions. Then we're going to move on to number 37. We're nearly at the end, I promise. This one is our layered maze. So again, embossed for smaller cards, working with our beautiful Enchanted Sprinkles, whether we're doing the positive or the negative of that one, or again brought in smaller patches for this beautiful, isn't this lovely? This one I think is Diane, isn't it? Yeah, Diane. Corrugated card, a lovely crushed velvet paper in the background, then some of our Enchanted Sprinkles, really vintage feel to that. And then this again, lovely idea created by Diane, a little box envelope with a little stand to make it stand, a little sentiment on the back there as well with a butterfly, and then filled full of flowers, all cut from, of course, our crushed velvet papers. Isn't that so beautiful? Even here, wrapped around it, is our crushed velvet paper, been stenciled over and inked on to give a really luxury fabric feel. That's gorgeous. Okay, number 38, just a few more of these to go, I promise. Number 38 is our Crazy Paving. And Crazy Paving, again, is going to work beautifully with our Enchanted Sprinkles. I've done it now, I've lost
Sparkles.
it. Sparkles. No, you're doing it now. They are sprinkles, Enchanted Sprinkles. I'm going to leave the bottle here so I remember it. You're leading me astray. You know I can't do names. That'll be it for life. Another one here bought in with our vintage travel collection. And then our penultimate design. This one is our squared tracks. And this one, again, great for tyre tracks, but actually really cool and mixed in here with our wood grain stamp set. Doesn't that look beautiful? So vintage and elegant. And then our last one. And then I promise we'll try and fit in a demo before we leave you all in peace for this evening. And our last one is Raining Coffee Beans, which, as Diane shows, certainly don't have to be coffee beans. And this card is, again, a great example of that. It can be so many different things. Here it looks a little bit like lips blowing a kiss, doesn't it? In with our pants stencil, which isn't pants at all. I can't remember the right name for it. Now that's going to be pants forever, isn't it? And then Ian's done a very cool idea here. He's actually stenciled the little coffee beans and then cut them out and put them into a coffee bean bucket, which I thought was a very cool idea. We all know somebody who loves coffee. What a lovely idea. And then another one here, I think this one's done by Ian as well, isn't it? Yes, Ian again has taken one of our little plant pots, turned it into a cup, added some coffee beans on it, coffee bean in the back, and added I Miss You So Much on there as well. And then our last samples I'm going to share with you are just a few here which have been created with our Enchanted Sprinkles. And we've got little goodie bags, we've got canvases, we've got cards, we've got MDF plaques, and we've got another beautiful card here, just showing you some more mixed media styles of actually playing with those and creating with them, which I thought was really lovely. So if anyone has any questions about anything we've whipped through, please let me know. If not, shall we make a card? Should we actually do some proper crafting? Because I know I've kind of kept you for an hour, haven't I, showing you all that lot. It's always really hard from our point, and you can always give us some feedback. I always think it's really important to make sure we show you as much inspiration as we can, because we know when it gets to shows, wherever them shows are, we don't get to show you everything. There's no way we can possibly show you every card we've created. And I know that we'll post them on social pages over the coming weeks, but then you kind of get them in drips and drabs, don't you? So in this video, in our sneaky peek, I try to fit as many as we can in, because I work on the theory this is your chance to really take note of all of the ones you like the look of and really get to see the products in all of their sort of glory. And then when we get to the shows and we do our sort of stockist launch week next week, we can do more demos to kind of back that up. But I know a lot of you, you're such a talented group that when I show you a card, you know how to make it. You don't need me to demo it for you. You know how to make it. And I think if we can go through like we have tonight, probably 100 odd samples, you're going to get a lot more inspiration from that than me doing 2 demos. But equally, we know the demos are important, so we need to do one of them at least before we let you go. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've chatted far too much and my throat's starting to get sore. So I'm going to have a little swig of this while we start to think about our next demo. And in the meantime, Pete is going to read out our question for tonight.
I am.
Can you read my writing? Come on, let's go over to the independent adjudicator and see if he can give us that detail.
I didn't know I was on hostage cam already, so where are we looking for? And you can see really how blind I really am. So.
I've had my drink. Do you want me to take it back? Can I rescue you? And just for the record, it's only Coke. I know it's in a beer glass, it is only Coke. I only ever drink out of those.
It's a pint of vodka and Coke.
It's not, don't tell them that. The last thing I need to get is a reputation for being a bit pie-eyed. Okay, so tonight, to win the card we're going to make, we're probably only going to get a chance to do one. So we'll try and make it a good one and we'll give you some inspiration with it. So to win the card tonight, as we are launching Stencil Vault Part 2, it got me thinking about vaults and it got me thinking about the things you would put in them. And it reminded me a lot of Richie Rich. Probably going to be alone on this one, but does anyone remember the Richie Rich film from the early 90s where they were trying to get into the family vault through the whole thing, thinking that the baddies were, I think Home Alone star baddies. Have you ever watched Richie Rich? You're looking at me very, very vague out the corner of my eye. They spend most of the film trying to get into the vault, the baddies. I can't remember who the baddie is. It's a long time since I've watched it. But there's a baddie trying to get into the family vault that's built into these like mountains. Think, you know, the mountains, is it Rushmore that have got all the faces, in? Yeah. Well, the family had their own faces put on mountains. Okay. And then they had a vault in there, and the baddie, whoever the baddie was, I can't remember. I think it might have been the butler, but somebody might help me out with this, was desperately trying to get into the vault, thinking that that's where all the family riches were going to be stored. Eventually he gets into the vault, and in the vault is all of their trinkets from their lives. You know, the baby's first walker and first pram and you know, heirlooms and things that actually sentimentally meant a lot more than the money did. So that got me thinking. My question tonight, what sentimental item would you lock in a vault? Or have you locked in a vault? What do you what's the thing you're holding on to? Send in your comments. Pete will read out any that are good, or all of them that are good, because I'm sure he can fill us full of those while we do some demoing. But to me, and then I'm going to ask you, Pete, what would you lock in a vault? And if you say me, you could be in trouble.
I was going to say, well, you with me as well, you see.
Oh, don't know about that. Don't know about that. Don't know if that's needed. But no, I need to know. So be prepared. I never pre-warn Pete of my random questions of the evening because I like to get a spontaneous answer. So we'll give you a minute to think about it, which sort of defeats the objective of a spontaneous answer, but it's less pre-thought out, isn't it? Okay, should we make a card in between my random waffling for the evening? This is the card that we are going to create. If we bring that over again so you can see it. I've just spotted I've lost a pearl out of my flower. Honestly, that was there earlier, but it doesn't matter. We're going to bring in our picket fence and we're going to create this card. And of course, it is going to use brand new papers as well. And we're going to show you those die cutting. So it's going to be done with the crushed velvet papers as well. And this is the card that you can win by letting me know what you would like to lock in a vault. So June says, what was the question? So if you, sorry, I rambled lots in the middle of that, didn't I? So if you had the opportunity to lock something in a family vault, what would it be? What sentimental or silly item, or maybe it is your money. Maybe we've got lots and lots of money and we're going to lock it in a vault. I don't mind. Just what are you going to put in the vault if you had the option to? So for this, shall we bring in some paper? What one should we? This is my problem because I was like, I like the navy, but actually, which colour should we go for? There's so many lovely colours. Where's that beautiful pink? But then, see, this has been me for weeks, this has. I think it's going to have to be the yellow. Shall we die cut from the yellow? We'll die cut from some of the yellow and we'll come back to the others later. So we'll die cut a piece of that. And I'm just die cutting this so you can see how beautifully and easily it cuts, because sometimes when we talk about different mediums, we're not too sure how well they're going to cut. So it'll be nice for you to see how that's going to go through. And we'll bring in a couple of our flower dies for this. So shall we bring in, let's go for one of each of them and we'll dot those around our plate. Let's go for like that so that they're nice and spaced, and we'll send that through the machine to see how that works. Now, of course, on this one, we are using the zinnia flower die set, I believe, to make our flowers for the actual card. And we're going to bring in some of our entwined foliage to make the background. Have we had any answers yet, Peter, to my random question of the week?
We have quite a few.
Come on then, what we got?
Bless our lovely Hayley says she still has her first ever card that she made nearly 18 years ago.
Oh, see,
Wow.
now that's the kind of thing I mean. How lovely is that? What a
lovely to
lovely
see
sentimental thing. Yeah, we would love to see that. You're right, Pete. Hayley, at some stage, not tonight, because you know you probably don't want to go off on that mission and find it now.
Even if it doesn't meet the group rules, we could probably allow that one in.
Oh, look at Pete bending
Bit
the
rebellious.
rules.
Zoe might tell me off, but
Shall we bypass Zoe and get her to post it on a live?
we could.
We could, couldn't we? Don't tell Zoe, who is here with us this evening. We hide behind poor Zoe, don't we? So all of these have cut beautifully well for us. I'm being lazy and not finding my pokey tool, to be honest, which I should do. Let's see if we can find it. So we can
I
just show
like
you
Bethan's response. She'd lock herself in a vault so she could craft in peace.
Now that's a very good idea, isn't it?
That's a very good
That's
idea.
a very, very, very good idea. I'm all up for that. I could quite enjoy that for a few weeks. Okay, so all of our elements are cut beautifully. The good bit with the paper is they're not, because I try to think of the questions you might wonder, but of course you can ask them. But you might wonder, will it be too weak? Will it stand up to that? Could I still shape it? Can I form it? Absolutely is the answer to this. It's 120 GSM, this paper, and that's a really nice weight to work with, to be honest, because it's strong enough that we can still shape it and get form to it, but it's quite lightweight, but it of course still keeps its texture. It's also quite a nice weight if we were going to do origami or tea bag folding, something like that. 120 GSM is the top end of the weight you would want to be working with. So it shows that you could still do all of those techniques in forming it, shaping it, folding it to create some really lovely items. But it's not too thick, it's not going to be become too bulky. So for instance, if you was to use my tea bag folding dies with it and then fold them, it's not going to be too prominent on the card. You're still going to be able to fold that and get some really nice creases into it. So as you can see, die cuts beautifully. We've already seen we can ink on it, we can colour it if we want to. You can even colour over the top of it with alcohol markers, which is a really lovely effect as well, because it kind of then opens up the door to more colours. Then, shall we go on to building our gate? Now I'm going to do this on the back of a cutting board so I don't have to move it too quickly, because the last thing we want to do is move it too quickly and have any issues with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a couple of these and we're going to lay them down here, and we're going to use one of the panels here to be our guide to run between them. So this doesn't have to be too exact, but it's kind of a nice shaping guide to be able to go in and go, do you know what, that's going to be the width that we're going to put between them. So we can bring that one over. We could even simplify this further actually, couldn't we? Should we do it on the bottom of the board? And this doesn't have to be perfect. Honestly, it's not going to be, is it? So that's the idea, is I would use those to shape them out and make sure that my gaps are neat. But I'm going to do it by eye because you don't want to watch me do that for the next 10 minutes. And we would then spread these out. So we're working on the reverse of them, working across them. And of course, if you're going for the size of a card blank, then of course you can check that that's going to match up to your card blank. But for this one, we're not going to be too particular. And we're just going to do some glue across the back. And we'll level these up. We're working with wet glue, so we've got that moment of movement. And then we can bring that in and place that going across the back. Now, you might want a bit of a wonky fence. You might be thinking ahead to Halloween. You might be thinking of Christmas and thinking, well, actually, I'm going to do this fence and then I'm going to add on it some beautiful Christmas decorations. Christmas is all in at the moment, isn't it? So you might want to do that. Now, I'm going to start holding these down while I do this because they're moving a bit more on my mat than I imagined they would. You might be thinking ahead to knowing that we have got some lovely Christmas products coming in the next few weeks. And you might be thinking that you want to stick a Rodney in front of this later down the line, or now you could use last year's Rodney, couldn't you? So we'll space that out roughly to where we want it to be, and then you can choose then if you want to do a diagonal one going across it or another one going through the middle, but however you wish to make up your panel. Now my one, I went for 4 lines, but I'm not going to make you watch me glue all of those in place because it's rather boring to watch. But I've added 4 lines on, and then I've used some 1mm foam tape to go across the back of those to make up my panel. And as you can see, relatively equally spaced out. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cover it and we're going to build loads over the top of it. Now, going on to our card blank, we're going to use an 8x8 card blank, so it's 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. We're going to bring in a lovely piece of our crushed velvet paper, and we're going to add some glue onto the back of this. Now, we're not going to be seeing a lot of this, so we don't have to worry about the glue showing through because we're only going to see the edges. And we're going to place that down on the top there. If you were worried about the glue showing through, then put it down and give it a little finger sort of rub over so that it's not too thick. It's only if it's too thick you might see it come through because it is a paper. We're then going to go on to our next level, and we're going to use our decal edge squares with our stitch lines, and we're going to place that over the top of this. And by the way, I realise this is sacrilege. I've just taken some of the most beautiful paper that I think I've ever laid eyes on and covered up 7.5 inches of it. It's just wrong, isn't it? I apologise. And if you're doing this at home, certainly don't do that. Die cut out of it first and then trim your panel out, or trim your panel and then do some die cutting out the middle of it. Basically, use the middle points. Has that disgusting word of gutting is what they class it as if we use the middle. Not everyone likes to do it. Some people don't like to do it with card because when you stick your next level on top, it can sink into the depth of the card. But don't forget, we're talking about quite a thin product here. So if we're putting card over the top of it, it's highly unlikely your card is going to push through it at all, and you would notice the difference, and it's going to give you much better value for money than like what I've just done, which is cover up the middle. But for the sake of the demo, it's nice for you to see how it's coming together. Then over the top of this panel, we are going to bring in some of the denim. So we've already been using the dusky pink. Oh, and I've called it denim, isn't it? It's Thunder Fog. How could I forget that name? The denim one is the darker blue. So we're going to use Thunder Fog on some 1mm foam tape, and we're going to bring that in, and we're going to place that down in the middle of our square. Why I put my fence in place, which is something I thought I would never say in life. Have we had any other vault comments?
We have indeed. Sorry, I'm just flicking through them all. So it's Diane Waters should keep a photo album of all her family and relations in the vault.
Oh, that's lovely.
Sweet.
That's really lovely.
It's lovely, isn't
that's it? Nice. We like sentimental entries. It's a bit like, what is it? What's the one who sends things into... He sends them into a vault, doesn't he? You've got no idea what I'm on about, I doubt.
I'm desperately trying.
Room 101. Is that still on
Oh,
telly? I'm probably like 20 years out of date here.
Wasn't that Paul Merton back in the day?
Was it Paul Merton? I was thinking
Was
somebody
it?
Skinner.
Someone else.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Was it Frank Skinner, the football singer?
Was it Frank Skinner? Yeah, it probably was.
I don't even know if that's the right
Yeah, I think
thing
it
for
was.
him. So what we're doing here is 1mm foam tape sandwiched together with some of our entwined foliage.
Correct.
Yes, I never call that the right name either, do I?
I had to think that.
Some of that layered through, all cut from our lovely moss green, and we're going to add another one of those on the top here. So we've got different heights going on, and then we're going to bring in our flowers, and we've got loads of these just already cut and layered, all with tape on the back of them, so we can layer these into our design. So we'll bring in a few so you can see what we've got going on as options, and then we can work out which ones we're going to be using. Let's find another one over here. I see Sheila pop up about a question on, will we be having a new Rodney this year?
I wasn't sure if I was going to ask that question.
Would you not? How would you answer it if you was to ask it?
Maybe not a new Rodney. But Rodney, we said, needed a family, didn't he? So maybe there's a new addition to the family.
Maybe there's a new Rodney.
Maybe there's a new Rodney.
Rodney's got a life, he's got activities.
Maybe it's been...
Is that a Rodney?
Dating or... Anyway.
We'll have to see.
We will have to see.
We'll have to see.
But we
But
are
that
fast
is later.
approaching Christmas season.
We are approaching Christmas. Yeah, I'm going to stick that. I'm going to tuck that one under there. See, this is what happens when I start talking about Rodney. I forget my flowers. Christmas season does start for us in a few weeks. Rodney will be coming slightly later, but there will be Rodney-ness at some part of the year, I promise you. We've told you for a year there will be Rodneys. There's got to be Rodneys, and they've got to be good Rodneys. So yeah, not a million miles away, but a few weeks. And that completes our first card. So bringing in the papers, bringing in a selection of flowers, some of our foliage, not necessarily all new foliage, some of our older foliage, bringing in our new butterfly, bringing in the picket fence, all working together to make that card. Now, of course, you could add in more. You could add in a sentiment if you'd like to up here. You could add in more butterflies. You could have gone for dragonflies. You could add in more flowers traipsing around the top there. And of course, we could have stamped our wood grain over the top of the white picket fence if we wanted to. Because I knew I was going to have quite a lot of texture in my flowers with our lovely crushed velvet paper, and I knew that I was going to be running that same texture through the background, I didn't want to put too much onto the picket fence, so I've left that relatively plain, but you absolutely could do if you wanted to. Love the, oh, what did I just see there? Love the flower centre beads. These are just different pearls, and then I just put 5 together. So keep an eye on pearls. We're not a million miles away from bringing you some pearls. They are samples of the ones we will be bringing you, some of these, not these ones, but some of these smaller ones. They're en route, but they are just pearls, and I've just used 5 and put them together to make little flowers, or 6 depending on what size they are, but they're just pearls dotted throughout the middles of the flowers. So this is the card that we're going to give away in our giveaway this evening. So if you haven't already answered, don't forget the question is, if you was going to lock something in a vault, what would it be? Something sentimental. It's going to go into a vault. What item would that be? Because we'd like to know your sort of crazy answers on that one, or sensible answers. We're all up for any kind of answer. We just like to see what you do. Okay, shall we? Because we're very conscious of time and it's already very late. But I feel like you might like to see a little bit of a play with the Enchanted Sprinkles. So should we have a little bit of a play with those and a couple of stencils? Because I know we took a lot longer to go through all of those bits. So it's probably not wise we fit in another demo. But do you want to see them pop a little bit? See how they work? See a couple of techniques with those? Because I think they've got so many ways and ideas that we can do with them. It might be nice to just cover a couple of them tonight, and then you'll see more on the shows on liveshopping.vip on Saturday and Sunday, and then again we'll be back on next Monday preparing for Stockist launch day on Tuesday. We'll probably fit a few more in there, but it might be nice to just cap off this evening with a little play with some of those. So let us know in the comments, and we will do our best to keep you happy and share with you some inspiration. While we're waiting for that feedback, Peter, any other vault relatedness that you'd like to share with us? Or any questions?
There's been a few. Inga would put genealogy research into it. I like that idea.
Oh, that's nice. That's lovely.
June. I put my radio my dad bought me when I was a teen and took it with me everywhere. That's quite cute.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's lovely.
Oh, that is nice. Sentimental.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like sentimental.
We do.
We do. Good. Beth and us, I'll be having a homework tonight. We absolutely are. I've just forgot to tell you about it.
Thank you,
So
Beth,
shall we tell you about it now before we forget again? Thank you. It's always good to have a reminder because trust me, memory like a sieve. This week's homework, your homework is classic black and white monochrome. I don't mind what size, style, theme, occasion that your project is created for, but I'm looking for black and white monochrome. Now that doesn't mean you can't bring in a little hint or a little pop of colour somewhere, but let's go with the idea that like 98% of your project is black and white monochrome. But if you want to sneak in a bit of silver or a bit of gold or a pop of red maybe, you know what you're doing, but that's kind of like the options, kind of the target really. Because sometimes I think we can get caught up with all the lovely colours in the world that we have to play with, but actually stripping it right the way back to black and white can really create some incredible effects and styles. So that's what I'd like to see this week. Now, whether that's that you're stenciling in one of the other colours, you're die cutting in those colours, you're bringing in some products. Maybe you are, you know, maybe it is product based. Maybe you want to bring in, let's say, our black onyx from our gemstones and our diamond white. You know, it could be product related. It doesn't just have to be plain cardstock, but it's about stripping it back right the way to white and black, and then making that your real focal point for your card. So whether it's stamped, die cut, stenciled, choice is yours. Whether it's a wedding card or a birthday card or a Christmas card, your choice. Size-wise, your choice. Everything your choice. Of course, just make sure that your posts meet the group rules, which are very relaxed and very easy, to be honest. But as long as they fit the rules and you share it with #classic. So #classic. And then we will close the competition next Monday at 5 p.m. and we'll announce the winner on next week's Monday Night Matter. Okay, thank you for the reminder once again, Bethan. You know I've got a terrible memory. So, shall we do some playing then with these Enchanted Sprinkles? Why we've got chance, because I think you might like to see these. So, let's start off with a piece of white card. So this is just a polar white card. It's 300 GSM. We're going to place that down to begin with. Now I have played with these products or similar products for a lot of years. And I would always tell you, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I would tell you to mist your card first of all, and then take out your powder and tap this over the top. So we're going to start off with Christmas red, shall we? So down onto wet card, and we're going to tap. And we're going to see this kind of burst happen, aren't we? That sort of firework of colour. But our lovely Emma is working on a video that she's going to be bringing to you shortly. And when I see the first version of it, I was really impressed to see something Emma did that I've never done. And it might be me because I often miss things. But Emma did something that I'd never seen done before. She started off with dry paper. So we're going to work in this area here, a dry card. And she tapped her powder out across the top and then misted it. And you're going to get to see this when her video goes up shortly. But what I found really interesting, and you're going to see it here, is how it reacts differently. It travels a lot less than when we drop it onto the water. And it makes sense because the water's already there and it's going to pool and it's going to travel out on the top. But when we drop the powder down and then bring the water, it moves a lot less. And we end up with more concentrated mounds and splats of colour, which gives you a completely different effect because that's going to pretty much dry as you see it. So I'm going to give it a lift, and again, if we give it a wiggle, those top pools are probably going to move around a little bit, so we can see them running down now, can't we? These bottom ones, less water, less movement, and much more concentrated. Now the only thing I'd tell you to be careful of in this setup, and it's not really vital, but if you have a proper mound, anywhere you've got a proper mound, but same up here, it doesn't matter where we're looking. If you have a proper mound and you haven't activated it all with water, then you're going to find that once it's dry, that powder will just brush off because it hasn't bonded. It's the water that activates it, it's the water that bonds it to the card. It's the water that really acts in this sense like the activator or the glue to keep it in place. Now, if you're new to this style of product, you might be wondering, okay, well, can I do more than one colour? Can I dilute that down? What else can I do with those powders? So let's take this and really dilute it down so you can see, you can stop at any stage, but you can dilute that as far as you want to. You can also, and this doesn't have to be on the project like we have, it could be before you've got here, it could be in a little palette off to one side. You can also take this and you can turn this into a paint. So again, you could take your white card or your coloured card and completely transform it by adding colour to the top of it and then painting through it and colouring the complete cardstock. And then even at that stage, once you've got to this point, you can take that and add more to the top of it. So maybe we should go for a different colour at this point. Should we go for, let's have a little orchid, might look quite nice on that. So we're going to bring in some orchid and we're going to tap this over the top and we'll give it a little mist in a minute. It's already wet because the base is wet, but we'll give it a bit of a tap. Can we see, oh, look at this. See, even before we add water, because of the base is still wet, it's starting, it's activating, it's coming out, it's giving us like a leopard print finish. Doesn't that look glorious already? Because we're working over a wet background, it's already fireworking, it's already working, it's already activating. And then we could bring in, let's try golden yellow. We might lose this a bit, but we'll bring in some golden yellow and see how that sits in this setup. And we're just tapping across the top, the dye-based powder's falling through down onto the sheet with that lovely mica in it as well. So as this dries, we're going to end up with that beautiful shimmer. You're not going to see the shimmer so much when it's wet, but don't forget when this is dry, this is the shimmer we're on about. Can you see how the light's hitting that? That's all the mica. So dye-based powder, chocked full of mica, the most dye I've ever seen in one of these products, the most mica I've ever seen in one of these products, giving you that really full-on intense finish. Now, if we move that over to one side, we've seen that we can do our colours with them. What else can we do with these? What else can we take these off to create? Well, we mentioned earlier about mixing them, didn't we? And we mentioned about mixing them into different things. So quick little demo here. Let's bring in some of our clear texture paste. Now you're going to know after watching a few of our lives, to me this is one of the most important ingredients or bases to all of the different things we work with. So let's bring some of this out. Just clear old texture paste, place that down onto our mat. We're then going to go for a different colour. So, let's go for cherry pop. So we'll go for this cherry pop and we're going to just tap it over the top. We don't need a lot, so that's like 3 taps. Now bearing in mind these are 18ml bottles and they come very, very full. So you're going to have a lot in here to play with. And then all we're going to do is start working that through the clear texture paste. No need for water because of the clear texture paste is moist enough that it's going to activate it for us. And we can now create our brand new coloured texture paste. And this is what I love about bringing you ingredients. Ingredients that mean that you don't have to buy every product in every colour. You can create your own. If we bring you the foundational items like the clear texture paste, you can take that and work with it in a texture paste. You can use it as we just did a moment ago. You can mix it into your gemstones texture paste and use it in that format. There's so many ways you're going to be able to take that and work with it. So if we bring in a stencil, again one of our new Stencil Vault stencils, and we're just going to take this straight over the top.
Kim's just asking if there's any blues in the powders.
There is a blue, yeah, there is a teal and a stormy blue. I'll show you those in just a second. Let me just do this and then I'll take you through the colours again so you can see them. I'll take that bit off the bottom there as well. I'm just going to do a small amount of this. Yeah, there's 12 colours in this release, so there's quite a lot covered actually. I can't really think of many gaps that we've created, but I have a feeling these are going to be quite popular, and I think as you collect them, you're going to kind of want all of them because they're rather sparkly and rather impressive. Now over the top of this, we could bring in more. So shall we do some decadent teal over the top? And we're going to spread that across a couple of areas. And then we're going to bring in golden yellow. And we don't have to at all. We could have just stuck with one colour. But we'll bring in a couple of others. and we'll mist with water, because you're then going to get to see that activate over the top of this stencil. And we'll do the same again in a moment. Now, what colour did we use? We used cherry pop, didn't we? So let's add a bit of that over the top as well, because then we might end up with another shade of that, because obviously the one in the texture base is slightly diluted down. And then we'll remove this and see what we've created.
June's just asking how you clean your stencil, please.
So just pop them into water. If at this stage, while they're wet, pop them into water and you can take that off, no problem. If, like me, I forget or I'm not prepared and I haven't brought water with me and it dries, which happens more often than it should, do not fear. Pop it into a hot, like a bowl of warm water or hot water, and then pop in some washing powder is what I use. Washing powder or a dishwasher tablet, and even if it's dried and caked on 9 out of 10 times, probably more like 99 out of 100 times, you should find that'll come away nicely for you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a print from this stencil, and this is another good way to use up that product that's on the stencil and even clean it to a degree. So a piece of copy of paper over the top, and then we're going to use a brayer to just take a print from that. Now the piece of paper protected all of this bit from being transferred into the gaps within the stencil. We can then remove this part and we've now got a perfect print from our stencil as well. So we've got the positive and the negative, the one that we created and the one that we've taken the print from. So we've now got two backgrounds out of one covering of that stencil. Now you might find there's enough on there that you could mist and take another print from that as well, because there's still quite a bit left on this stencil that is still usable. Or you might take that and think, well actually, I'm going to go for a more subtle background. And we're going to go back into, and don't do this with a messy tool, but we're going to, and I haven't forgot, we will look through the blues in a second, I promise, Kim, sorry. It's taking me longer to stop playing than I imagined. But we're going to take the clear, and we're going to now clean off the stencil slightly, just by running that down over the top here. And you can see that colour, because we haven't mixed this in, we're mixing it from what the dirty bit that's on the stencil as such. We're now creating a completely different background, where that's kind of radiating through and giving us a new look. So we'll take that away again. And now that looks a bit more like a jelly sweet, doesn't it? Can you see the subtlety of that, where the clear texture base is coming through? Now don't forget, while this is wet, we could even sprinkle glitter over the top of that, and then glitter would dry in there as well, sort of encrusted into the clear texture paste, which would give us another effect as well. Now before I forget, let's have a little look through these colours for Kim, because if not, my memory's like a sieve and it'll be gone. So colour wise, let's give you a run through. Those ones are our mixes, we'll come back to those in a minute. We have got Christmas green. So Christmas green chocked full of mica. We have got cherry pop, which is the one we've just mixed in to that texture paste base. We have got, this is a beautiful bluey one. This one is Stormy Skies. All those different shades of blues and teals running through this one, chocked again, full of mica. Then we move on and we have got Christmas red. I can see poinsettias cut out of that one, laid in with that beautiful green being used for holly. Then we've got golden yellow. Beautiful sort of orangey yellow. Then we have got decadent purple, all different intensities of purple coming together to make up that one. Then we have got spring green, nice bright green, which might be nice to go with the grasses and the stems for our flowers. Then we have got sunshine yellow, that perfect bright background to go behind our picket fences. Then we've got Circuit Breaker. Now Circuit Breaker is one of our multicoloured ones. So in here we have got blues, reds and blacks, or orangey reds really. And then we've got Tidal Teal. Isn't that glorious? Doesn't that just remind you of the sea, or thunder and lightning and kind of that mysterious look? I love that one. And then lastly we have got Orchid coming in there. Now again, we don't have to use these just on their own. We can create some amazing mixes and make up some beautiful backgrounds with these in all different shades and styles, depending on the way that we choose to mix them and create with them. Now there are a lot more techniques we can do with these, including watercolouring with them, stamping with them, and mixing them into a whole host of other products and projects. But I have a feeling we're probably going to send you all to sleep if we natter for much longer. So I think it's probably a good idea we leave you in peace for now, and we see you all again on Saturday for the shows on liveshopping.vip. Now don't forget, on Saturday our shows on Live Shopping VIP will be for the summer crafting event. So we will be with you Saturday at 2 p.m. and we will be with you Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. So 3 hours across the 2 days, and we'll be taking a look at all of the 54 products that we've had a little look through this evening. But don't forget, that includes 12 colours of our Enchanted Sprinkles. It of course includes all of that incredible crushed velvet paper. Let me know in the comments, what did you think to this? Have you fallen in love with this as much as I have? I think this is going to be one of them products I'm going to be using forever and a day. I love a texture, I love what that brings to the party, and I think that you're going to fall in love with that. I can see possibly that's going to be one of them products people think, well, I'm going to start off with a white, and you're going to get it, fall in love with it, and then want to use all of the colours and collect them all. Then of course we've got our 5 little expressional sentiments. We've got our wood grain stamp, we've got our picket fence die set, and then of course we've got our main gardening collection, which takes you through the butterflies, the flowers, the garden essentials, the plant pots, and of course our wheelbarrow too. And all of those products will be available on the Live Shopping VIP summer crafting event, Saturday at 2 p.m, Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Then it will launch with our stockists on Tuesday the 24th at 10 a.m. So you've got a few options on where you're going to be able to purchase your items from if it's a collection or item you've fallen in love with. Now before we go, Peter, we need our winner for this evening, who's going to win the card we've created. Apologies, it's only one card, but hopefully you can see we've chopped in a lot this evening. So who has won with what they would like to put in their vault?
So thank you all for your lovely comments. Tonight's winner, hostage cam's coming in. Tonight's winner is, we're not getting a drum roll tonight. I think he's on strike. That's a Marky and Emma's thing that she did.
That was a really poor drum roll, is that Belle?
Okay, recovered.
Okay.
He's recovered, doesn't he?
Recovered.
So congratulations this evening goes to Jasmine Fox. She said she'd my little notes here. Look, she'd keep anything that anyone has ever crafted because it's always full of love. So she'd like to keep it.
Now that is a very, very, very lovely idea and very true. I think as crafters, we appreciate the love and attention that's gone into handmade, don't we? Whether that's a knitted item or a sentimental item or whatever it may be. Of course, a card, of course, a project. It's all done with love, isn't it? Why else would we do it? Now, another bad mark I'm going to get, Peter.
Well, I think you interrupted me there. So if this is what I think you're going to pick me up being told off, look.
No. I was saying I was going to get a bad mark.
Well, I feel I'm stealing his job sometimes. But Jasmine, if you'd like to let us know if you'd like your cards signed, obviously Jamie or myself will sign them for you. And if you message us your address, please drop us a message. I think I've done his job.
No, you're fine. The bit I forgot to tell you, of course, is the stencil vault stencils. When we were talking about all the new goodies, there are 20 stencil vault stencils that will also be available in all the ways we mentioned earlier through the shows this weekend, and of course for our stockists next week. I think that's all that we need to bore them with this evening, don't you?
If they're still awake.
Don't forget, Gwen will be back with you on Thursday at 7 p.m. This week she will be having a little look at the architecture collection, which are beautiful stamps of the castles and the pubs and the newsprints and all of those bits. So if you've got that collection or you want more inspiration with it, join Gwen right here on this page, 7 p.m. on Thursday, and she will, as always, will inspire us all with her incredible knowledge and creativeness. So see us back here Thursday for that. And I will see you Saturday at 2 p.m. on liveshopping.vip. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and it's never taken for granted. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for all your lovely comments, and we will see you all on Thursday when it's Gwen's turn, and then again on Saturday when we're at liveshopping.vip. So from me, good night, and from Pete,
good night. Take care. See you next time.
See you next Monday for you, isn't it? Yeah, next Monday we'll have you back on hostage cam. Okay, good night all. Thanks again. Night night.